Hello. I think we're going live. Let me just check. If anyone can hear and see me, please give me some indication in the chat so I know the sound is working and the video is working. Yep. So let's just wait maybe for 1 minute before we get started. I'll put on the slideshow. Yeah, so welcome everyone and thanks for joining. Yeah, feel free to leave comments where you are joining this live call from. As usual, I'm calling in from Auckland, New Zealand, and it's the afternoon for me. So welcome everyone. So we'll just wait another minute or two for people to popping in before we get started. And also just because our community is in all different time zones, so don't worry if you don't catch this live. This will be recorded and then also be shared around in our YouTube channel as well as Twitter and other community channels as well. So you won't miss out anything. Today we do have a full program. Usually these updates, we try to do it every month or two, depends on what's going on. And there's a lot has been happening in the last month and a half since our last update. So the program is quite packed today. But we'll try to provide, as much as possible, like more reading material if I can't cover every single detail during the call. But the call is mostly trying to put everything together. So you have a general idea where Acala 2.0 is and then where we're heading, what are the milestones that we're hitting. And then, of course, more excitingly, what is happening right now and what can you participate and how can you support Acala? So so I see more people coming into the call now, and then I will just get started. So again, welcome everyone joining the call. This is Betty reporting from Auckland, New Zealand. And today we are going through the Acala 2.0 upgrade updates. And we do have a specific program today, and I'll run you through, mostly focus on the ecosystem that we're building around liquid staking token, like LSTs, and also the liquidity programs. These are the two, part that underpins our Acala 2.0 vision, which is building the liquidity layer for Web3. But today will be quite specific. But before we get started, this is our agenda. I'm hoping everyone can see my screen, right? So if at any point, if you can't see or can't hear, just indicate in the chat and I'll be monitoring it. If you can see my screen clearly and you're okay, just give me a thumbs up as I continue. So at the beginning, we will recap a little bit on Acala 2.0. So just bear with me for a couple of minutes, especially important for those who come into this call fresh and new and didn't have much idea of Acala 2.0. So I'll spend a little bit of time to talk through that. So for those who already know, just bear with me. And then the next, then we'll just walk through some of the updates and progress that we've made in the last month and a half. And then in particular, we'll talk about the ecosystem and how we are going about innovation and also adoption, right? So those are the two very important things that I will touch on. And then the next thing will be interesting is liquidity programs that there's a couple of them that we've already launched. And then there's one or two of them that are in the process right now, still voting. So there's a chance that you can participate and you can also anticipate things that will be happening, like for DOT and also for other staking programs. And then lastly, I'll touch on ACA staking as well, which just opened this week. So this call is very timely. We were planning to have this call last week, but there was so much going on that we had to postpone to today for the call. But in any case, we have a full pack program today. And then at the end, I've collected some questions from the community. So hopefully we can actually go through some of those. If not, we'll try to put together in writing, like all the answers to the questions in the Q&A section so that everyone can actually see and follow. So let's get started. Just a little bit of a recap, what we are trying to build at Acala. So we're building the liquidity layer for Web3, and then how are we achieving that? So there's the technical side, there's also the commercial or the go-to-market side of it. So for the technical side of this, just a reminder, we are a modular and hybrid chain where we acquire security from Polkadot, and we build up the stack in the substrate runtime, where you see many different types of assets, as well as DeFi protocols, ranging from liquid staking, ranging from T-Dot, and then also to be built institution, LS-Dot, and other sort of palettes, which are the protocols at the base layer. And then on top of that is the EVM layer, which, if you like, this is the user interface for developers to develop on top of Acala. And then we already have a number of smart contract applications that I'll run you through today that are built on top of the EVM, and they are multi-chain, and they are able to leverage the protocols running underneath it, as well as cross-chain, right? So they can leverage other parachains and other protocols on other L1 and L2s to compose the application. Yeah, and then this is basically the top layer there, and this is the technical stack of it. And then as for the Acala Exodus plan, so the 2.0 plan, in addition to building the technical stack, very importantly, how do we move that to market? How do we actually acquire liquidity? And then how do we increase adoption? So there's a number of factors in there. So as for those who didn't know, for the Acala 2.0 plan, there are 4 parts to the 2.0, which I will also show a progress map on where we are for those 4 items. But just to recap, the first part is the ACED, so the AUSD conversion to ACED, where basically give people options to exit the existing position, but also I've seen many tradings are continue to grow in the DEXs, as well as there's applications now building on top of ACED to provide options market and things like that. Yeah, and then behind that there will be a AC Treasury. And then at a certain point, the redemption will open. And then at that time, the ACED treasury will be more than $1 for each ACED for people to redeem their asset out of it. But in between time, that's where the accumulation happened. So I think in a bear market, that's probably the right time to do this sort of things. But in any case, this is like the going forward plan for ACED. And then the next section is building that universal asset hub. And then I've shown you the technical part of it. And then the sort of the other side of it is the innovation happens always in the DeFi side of it. However, the go-to-market, the mass adoption will happen in HiFi, so hybrid finance, where we take the DeFi protocol and then be able to integrate with the value chain vertical. So this could include institutions, could include fintech, and then there could be further product wrap around or build around the DeFi protocols to be able to funnel those to the consumers at the sharp end. And I'll go into a little bit more detail on that and how we're actually thinking about that, why that is the right way to get to mass adoption, and then also be able to do it safely, responsibly for consumer at the sharp end. And that's really what Acala's vision is for, is really at the end of the day, have that hybrid finance approach to be able to let DeFi to reach the mass market. Because to be honest, I don't think my grandma will ever be able to use any brilliant wallets out there today or tomorrow to be able to transact DeFi directly. But she will very well versed to go to her local bank or her local fintech provider to access services and products potentially provided by Acala that are hitting in the background. She may or may not even know that we exist, but we are powering some of those products and services. So that is sort of the end goal. Of course, there's a pathway how we actually achieve there, and I'll show you some of the examples today, just to shed some light where we are heading. And then, of course, to make all of this possible, there's the tokenomics update where the ACA farm comes into play to actually boost ACA holders to participate in the ecosystem. And then this is mostly brought about by ACA staking, as well as voting for ACA incentive plans going into the Universal Asset Hub, supporting the applications, but also getting feedback as well as rewards from those participated applications. So hopefully that goes into a positive cycle and supporting ecosystem growth. At the same time, ACA holders also getting benefit from those growth. So those are the a little bit more detail on the Acala 2.0 plan. But ultimately, this will also go multi-chain. So we also have a plan there for probably firstly with the Ethereum LSTs to come over. So we have a LST platform here as a base, as a liquidity base, and then the app layer on top of that. And then you can have cross-chain interaction and new products being built. And then some of those applications can be transferred onto institution-grade products and have a much bigger sort of uptake in the market. So that's Acala 2.0. And where are we today? So as a summary, last time we've already checked the boxes for AC emission. The burn, I think that the next burn is going to happen in 5 or 6 days. There's about 200 plus K of ACA being burned. You can actually check it out from the Polkadot.js app, go to Acala and then Treasury, and you can see how many days for the Treasury cycle and then how many ACAs are burned. And then so that's the ACA track. And then we're also taking the second box now for ACA staking, which just went live this week. Which I'll show you a little bit more details if you haven't actually gone there yet. So this is actually available on our main application, apps.acala.network. If you go to staking, there's the ACA staking there available. And then for the ACA 3, this is currently under research and development still. That is to do with using those ACA stake for network security, but also provide more of a dynamic voting for ACA voters to be participating in some of these liquidity programs. So I think the heavy lifting for the ACA part is already done, but the optimization is still ongoing for the ACA phase 3. And then for the ACID part of it, the conversion is done, it's still trading. And then we also have options market open provided by another project called Meta Defender, which I'll go into a little bit more detail shortly. And then for the phase 2 vault conversion, I think there will be some proposal or some announcement fairly soon. And then this also comes along with the redemption. We need to set some parameters, and then also there's development that needs to be going on to develop the palette for redemption as well. So that's the AC part, just like very quickly. And then the last part is the exciting part, is the Universal Asset Hub. So this is the liquidity part of the whole 2.0 program. So we have launched the Asset Hub last month or maybe 2 months ago. And then we are developing further, because with the asset router that's the infrastructure, we are able to do fancy stuff like one-click staking, right? So you can be your DOT or your assets can be on any L1, L2, or any parachain, and then you can just click one button, and then it can actually route the assets as well as staking, for example. And of course, it can do other sort of transactions as well. But that is what's possible. So very soon we'll be, so that infrastructure is already in place. So very soon we'll put that into practice, be integrated and implemented into our application so that you can do things like one-click staking DOT, and also soon we'll also open up Ethereum LST, so you can also do the east side of staking as well, with one click, like cross-chain, right? So this is like all laying the block for the next sort of application to come, to implement. And then we've also launched the UFRITS application, which is the liquidity application. This is a smart contract application, which I will go into a little bit more detail, and where it already has LCDOT staking, single side staking there, and I think DOT staking is coming very soon. And then, as I mentioned, phase 3 will be multi-chain, and then yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that later. So this is like overall where we are. So we are only, I think today is 19th of October, so we are about 4 months into announcing the plan, and then providing implementation roadmap. And now this is where we are. So we're taking many boxes and then continue to move forward and charging ahead. Yeah, so that's that. And then now let's get into some meaty stuff. So the LST ecosystem, so liquid staking ecosystem. And the thinking behind this is, the thesis is, if you think about all the chains out there, there are many L1s, well, L0s, if you like. Proof of stake is dominating, and I think it's going to be the trend to provide security for those networks. And then if you think about the POS, the yield coming from these networks, they are almost analogous to interest rates in the real world, or in the TradFi world, right? If you think about it this way, then the LSTs should be fundamental financial layer for basically all POS. And that's why, one of the reasons why we put this as the base layer on Acala, and then be able to aggregate them and then be able to continue to innovate on top of that, build an ecosystem. And again, our approach is innovate via DeFi. So that's why we have building DeFi protocols ourselves. So we are protocol builders. At ground zero, we built protocol, liquid staking protocol, liquid staking LST5 protocol, DEX protocol, liquidity protocol like UFRITS, etc. We also work with teams that build these protocols to integrate and then to build up the stack on the DeFi side. However, mass adoption will come from HiFi, so hybrid finance, where DeFi is the backend infrastructure, and you go through a compliant middle layer and front end to be able to reach mass adoption. If you don't do that, if you're coming only from the CeFi side, you will get what Celsius and FTX happened last year. If you're only coming from DeFi and don't do the front-end integration, you get what DeFi is today, currently, is a very small user base, extremely difficult to use, regardless how you innovate on the UX of wallets and whatever, because blockchain, DeFi, they are infrastructure. They are not finished product. So I'll go into a little bit more how we approach that in the ecosystem update here. So first of all, so I'll highlight 3 ecosystem projects today. There are more we'll be able to show in the future, but highlight 3 today. So first one is UFRITS. So for those who follow us closely, this is a smart contract application that we just launched 2 weeks ago. And then this is built on top of the Acala EVM, where it provides boosted liquid staking for LCDOT and also for DOT that is coming soon. So if you actually go on to there, so if you land on the LCDOT side. You'll be able to see the LCDOT pools there that you can participate in staking. And you can also now, it just come out on the DOT side. If you go to the DOT part of it, there are some anticipating or projecting TVLs there that are currently going through the governance vote that will be going into the incentives. So this is upcoming, right? So I think the anticipation, I think the date, did I put a date? Yeah, so the DOT is coming on October 24th, so next week. That is the time. So I think we can actually link the proposal in there. Yeah, so we can link the proposal later on so people can check that out and know the exact time for the DOT pool to launch. And then the idea of this app is you can actually route liquidity into UFRITs, and then the pools that are open on UFRITs, they're basically applications. So the liquidity can then go into the applications, and then the application can use the liquidity to make those assets productive, right? So right now, obviously, everyone, if you are part of the Polkadot ecosystem, everyone is talking about the unlock. There's 100 million DOT. Yeah, so how do you make DOT great again? Is to make DOT productive as much as possible, right? So if DOT is sitting there doing nothing, it's not productive. If it's sitting there purely just staking, it's also not productive asset. You have to have DOT in the ecosystem in a liquid form for it to be productive. So a portion of that will have to come through in one way or another in a form like UFRITs to turn the DOT into liquid staking form. What doesn't matter which one you choose, right? So that you can reuse those LDOT or TDOT for different purposes, and also become liquid. And also not just you, right? There will also be external parties, which I'll mention another product that we built, be able to use those LDOT to create even more products, new products for different purposes. So this is very important, I think, for any POS network and for DOT in particular, because right now we are increasing, the Polkadot referendum is increasing the optimal staking rate from about 50% to 75%. Don't quote me on the exact number, but that's sort of the idea. Overall, that's a very positive proposal to help more engagement for people to stake after the unlock. But at the same time, it will be a disaster if all of the DOT is just staked directly into the protocol rather than going through a liquid staking form like LDOT or TDOT or other LSTs, because then there's no liquid sort of DOT in the market to facilitate trading for various different markets, like derivative markets, to trade on them, and also various different products to build on top of them. So this is a good way for individuals to have at least a portion of your asset to stay liquid, and then be able to exit the market or doing other stuff without it just sitting static on it. Of course, you can allocate, how you want to put the DOT, maybe a portion of that stake directly on Polkadot.js, and maybe a portion of them is liquid staking DOT, maybe a portion is TDOT, maybe a portion is something else. But at the end of the day, it has to have choices and diversified range of productive DOT in the ecosystem. And that's how I think one way to make DOT productive and great again. So UFRITs actually fulfill some of the main objective there. And it's doing pretty well given where the market is at. So far, I can report that there's over 2.2 million LCDOT, which is 1-to-1 to DOT, has been staked. And I think 84% or 85% plus of the participants are staking 1,000 LCDOT or lower, right? So that's predominantly individual participants. 15% they are slightly larger participants there. So that's a very, very healthy sort of participation in the staking there. And also there's more people coming as they wake up to this. So and then at the same time, the rewards are actually adjusted via governance every period. So these are adjusted every week or every 2 weeks through voting, because the rewards basically depends on the rewards here basically depends on how many TVL there are, how many LC dots are staked. So if there are a lot of stakers, then the reward rate can be adjusted to go up and down to actually meet the target that we have. Yeah, so that's that. Cool. Yeah, so and then going forward, the UFRITs will also support, obviously, Ethereum LSTs. So at the moment, we're focusing on LCDOT, and then next, very soon, DOT is coming. So get your DOT ready, and then yeah, and then after that will be Ethereum. The next project that I'll mention on the DeFi side is Meta Defender. Some of you might have seen the announcement, but I'll go into a little bit more sort of intricacies of why this is interesting, at least for you to take a look. First of all, this is not your ordinary derivative markets, right? So you have GMX as a derivative marketplace. This is like derivative market for interest rate markets. So if you look at the TradeFi world, it is a 500 trillion market, right? So it's a huge market. It's much bigger than the underlying asset. This is the same happen in crypto as well. So the derivative trading is way bigger than the underlying asset. And then at the same time, so as I mentioned, LST and its yield, you can analogous it to interest rate, right? So that will make it very interesting because interest rate goes up and down. And then if your business relies on those interest rates, say if you borrow or you lend your asset out, and there's interest rate that determines how much yield that you have to pay or get, then guess what? You will at some point have to think about how do you hedge that, or how do you be smart making your decisions on how much asset to put into lending or borrowing, because those interest rate can go up and down, right? And this is the reason why derivative markets for interest rate exist, is you can actually hedge for interest rate goes up and down. And of course, on the other side, when you are the hedger, then there's also the speculator or the person on the other side taking on those risks and speculate the market and getting return on it, right? So this is quite interesting. And on the Ethereum side, there's already folks like PendoFi building tokenized yield on that side. So Meta Defender is actually building on top of PendoFi on Ethereum. So they collaborate and then they work together. So Meta Defender actually produced this derivative marketplace that integrate with PendoFi's tokenized yield, and then specifically trading for perpetuals and various different derivatives for yields. And then why can't you just use GMX? Why do you have to build a specialized one, right? For exchanges like GMX, if you go on there, there's usually only a few assets you can trade, usually the larger assets like BTC, like ETH, maybe DOT, right? It requires deep liquidity for trading those assets and settle those assets on a derivative market. So for LSTs, it's particularly difficult. Even on Ethereum, the LSTs are very fragmented to start with. And LSTs is also not the entire ETH market, right? So LST is only a portion of the DOT market and also a portion of ETH market or any POS network market. So the liquidity to start to bootstrap is small. And then also it has certain characteristics when you actually trade on those GMX type of derivative market, you wouldn't be able to bootstrap it. So there's chicken and egg problem. So Meta Defender actually comes up with an innovative design, the token design, as well as liquidity provisioning design, which I don't have time to go into detail, but we can link you to their article that they actually talk about how they provide tokenization so that you can actually trade those yield tokens and then be able to have enough liquidity on the derivative market to make it reasonable for you to trade yields, right? So this will be very, very interesting for Acala as well as for Polkadot. So for Meta Defender, when they come to Acala, they will build a full stack. So they will build, they are basically building PendoFi plus a specialized GMX for LSTs, right? And then so they will build tokenization for LDOT and any LSTs that are dot based on Acala. And then they build a GMX like derivative market with their new token design and liquidity design. And what does that mean? That means with that, well, firstly, you can actually trade dot yields, right? So dot yields do go up and down. Especially with the new sort of optimized staking ratio being in place, you can see, the staking ratio is going up and down, and you can trade those, right, without touching your principals. So principals is like, say if you have say if you have 100 dot, and then you stake it, and then there's yield generated every day, right? So imagine you can keep your principal dot aside, like don't touch it, but you just trade on the yield of the dot to go up and down, and then be able to, well, either hedge it for your business, whatever you are doing, like being funded by the dot, or well, you are taking the risk, you are the speculator to trade it for up and down. And this will hugely increase liquidity as well as efficiency and cost for dot going around the ecosystem. And truly is, well, if this is done right, then it will help to make dot great again, right? And once you've got this, then you can build a real fixed rate product. There's no real fixed rate product on the market for crypto. If you go on to like Aave and lending protocols, they give you a fixed rate, but it's only fixed for a period of time. But their rates like accelerate so much that after a while, you can see their rates changing dramatically, right? And there's also other protocols that provide so-called fixed rate, but it's also only fixed on the certain day. So it's not like a real fixed rate product. However, with Meta Defender setup, you can actually have real fixed rate, which operates almost like your savings account. The way that it does it, obviously I'm simplifying a lot, but we can link it to the material that you can read a little bit more about. That is, well, you can take the yield token and then also build up a perpetuals on the other side, so you have a neutral sort of rates at the end, and provide you the real fixed rate that actually doesn't change, and which gives you the use experience of, it feels almost like the same as a savings account in a bank, right? So this is interesting. Obviously, they are very early teams. They've already got a lot of experience building on the Ethereum side, and then they're launching their protocols adapted to Polkadot and also adapted to Acala very soon. And right now they're doing some teaser products. They're launching an options market, which also falls in the umbrella of derivative markets. So it's already on testnet, and we can provide those links and you can participate. So there's a testnet campaign that's going on. And then very soon they will also be launching testnet for the yield, tokenization yield, as well as the perpetuals as well. So yeah, so that's the Meta Defender project. And then the next one, this is like the previous two is more on the DeFi innovation side, and then the Credera secure lending is on the HiFi adoption side of the pipeline. So for those who noticed, so we've launched this about 2 weeks ago. This is a response to last year's CeFi collapse, as I mentioned, like Celsius and FTX. And then the major problem there is the hidden risk of credit. The hidden credit risk are not visible to the participants, right? So if you participate in an earn program, for example, like how do you know? Like you have no idea where those money are being used. And then very well that the company actually took those money and used for different purposes, as well as moving up the risk scale without obviously you acknowledge it. And then at the end of the day, when they chase the yield, they also move up the risk for chasing the yield. And then, until the time that it collapses and everything is unveiled. So in answering to that, this is a hybrid finance product where at the front end, it is a special purpose vehicle. So it is a segregated risk legal framework, as well as a technological framework where Credera provides that you can actually track your funds from where it starts and all the way to which strategy and which platform it goes to at the end of the day. And then at the back end, the U actually comes from Polkadot staking via Acala's LDOT, so liquid staking protocol LDOT. And then this is also a delta neutral sort of yield product. It does do like hedging, and it also do liquid trading for the stake dot as well. But at the end of the day, what's really exciting about this one is at the moment it is institution first product. So this product is available for institutions, and it is also a middle layer. Because where we are heading with this is Acala is the DeFi, and then now we go one layer up to go into the institution. So there's a wraparound product, right? So this has a legal framework, legal wrapper to provide the structure and also means and also analytics and monitoring for institutions. And then the next layer up, for those who already anticipate, is the consumer layer, because the next layer is we're waiting for partners like fintech partners, local sort of banking providers. Then they can again have the right licenses to wrap around this product to localize it in the right jurisdiction, right? So US will have a different license applied to it. If it's Europe or UK, it's a different sort of setup. But those wrapped consumer products, then you can have individuals, going into their familiar fintech provider, whether it's an app, it's a bank, it's whatever provider it is, then you can actually consume this product, basically, have a yield on BTC, right? So this product actually are able to provide secured BTC lending for 7 to 10% of yield. And then, of course, when it gets to consumer, it will be a different sort of parameters. But at the end of the day, the consumer then can enjoy this yield product in a compliant and also transparent way, and they are able to track all the way down to where that yield comes from. And then with this technical and legal setup, the yield cannot generate from anywhere else. So with this one single lending vehicle, SPV, it can only generate with what it's stated, which is from Polkadot staking via Acala liquid staking protocol. So this is exciting because it took us quite a while to get to this point. You build DeFi protocols, you bootstrap it, but end of the day, one of the ways I think this is going to take off is be able to build this type of hi-fi product that will have volume, right? Because once it goes into institution, you will have demand, institution demand for DOT to start with. I mean, of course, the next layer is then you will have consumer, like individual user base that come on board to use this and also drive demand for DOT, of course, as well as BTC as well. So this is super exciting for us. And we will continue to do more of this type of product to put our DeFi innovation into practice and also be able to, eventually, I hope, into everybody's hands, right? So that's the goal in a proper and compliant and safe way. So and also, again, this product is already available. So if you are an institution and if you are interested in BTC, you can go on to Quadera's website. I think you can already start registering and start getting into this product today. So so that's that. And then the next part is liquidity program. And there's a lot to talk about, but I will just highlight a few things. So first of all, we have a single site LCDOT staking program that's going on. I think you've already seen it. If you don't, we'll provide all the links, right? So you can go on to it. There's a comprehensive video guide, text guide that you can follow to set up your wallets and then, get your LCDOT into staking. It is very simple because all you need is put your LCDOT into any of the pools that you choose. And then the way that it works is, let me show you this. The way that it works is if you choose, so at the moment, the DOT hasn't been unlocked, right? So LCDOT behind LCDOT is basically DOT locked on a crowd loan. And then for those who stake your LCDOT, you basically save yourself to do the manual step, right? When the unlock happen, the LCDOT will be automatically claimed as DOT and come back from Polkadot automatically for you. And then it will then automatically stake into whichever pool that you choose. If you choose LDOT, then it will stake into LDOT. And if you choose TDOT, then it will go into TDOT and mint TDOT for you, right? And after the unlock, then you can withdraw either TDOT or LDOT at any time. Yeah, so it is quite simple, but there's quite a bit you can read about it as well. That will provide this link later. Yeah, so and then for DOT also, the DOT reward is also coming next. And as I mentioned, I think it's 24th that it will come. And again, the DOT side of the things is even simpler because once you state DOT, then after the unlock, the DOT will actually go straight into the pools, go into T-dot pool or L-dot pool, and then it will start earning rewards. And then the rewards again mainly will come from dot staking. So that's the like so-called real yield, so the dot staking. And then if you are T-dot user, then part of it come from dot staking, part of it come from protocol transaction fees because there's a stable pool behind the T-dot. And then there's additional reward in ACA as well as in Tiger. And then in future pools, there could also be other projects participating. So yeah, so that's DOT. And then yeah, so if you do have DOTs that are waiting to be unlocked, this is one of the avenues that you should consider to make your DOT liquid and be useful, right? So and then when a DOT stay on the platform in the form of LDOT or TDOT, they're both useful. For LDOT, it is basically liquid staking and you can still use it. For TDOT, it's even more so because it provides a liquidity pool. So it's LDOT to DOT pool behind the scene. So we actually provide a lot of trading venues for folks like Credera, right? So they will actually use that DEX venue to provide liquidity to their borrowers, to their lenders at the end of the day. So yeah, it is going to make the DOT going to be productive and useful for the ecosystem itself, but also people who are making use of Polkadot, right? So it is important. And of course, at the same time, you also earn extra rewards. You also have more flexibility in terms of your asset management, right? So all of this should be considered when you withdraw your DOT from Quatlong. Yeah, and then of course, LDOT has a very long running history already. So ever since we launched, which is 2 years ago, right? So I think 24th of October marks in a blockchain term time marks the 2 years of anniversary. So it's been running for a long time, and then it's always been chosen as the protocol to integrate, especially in the institution side, which prioritize security, reliability, and also prudence in terms of the protocols. Yeah, so that is the Euphrates DApp and also the LDOT and TDOT that I'll mention that much. And then for folks who are first time going on to Euphrates, you are asked to set up a UniFi account. And I'll just remember the time. I will just go very quickly on this one. Is this will allow you to use one account for multiple stacks. So basically, you log in with a MetaMask, and you also link it up with the Substrate wallet, and you only need to do it once. After that point, you can use your MetaMask, and you can interact with smart contract applications, Substrate applications, and also multi-chain applications like wormhole and going to L1 and L2s and etc. So this is very powerful. This is the UniFi account system that we've developed for a long time. And then through Euphrates, it's been put in good use for this. And then, of course, for those who participate in Euphrates, you may also anticipate in the future there's multi-chain sort of staking coming on board. So if you do this once, then it will reduce a lot of friction in the future when we start to have staking East LST, for example. Yeah, so that's UniFi account. There's also plenty of videos and resources that you can use to do the UniFi account set up. And last but not least, this is ACA upgrade to actually boost ACA utility and Acala growth. This is very exciting and lots of anticipation, and already seen quite a bit of participation. I think we are seeing about like 9% or 10% participation already just within a couple of days. So usually it takes a while for it to get to our target rate, which is about 40 or 45% or something like that. Yeah, so as I mentioned, the burn is going to happen probably not 9 days. It's going to be like 6 or 7 days. You can actually look it up on the Polkadot.js Acala application treasury, and there's a date there to tell you how many to be burned. And then again, just a reminder for Acala emission. So Acala is always fixed supply. With the new emission, there's new emission being provided, but it's fixed, right? So it's always fixed. There's no ongoing inflation per se. And then the new emission is mostly to support Acala 2.0, be able to support all the ecosystem projects, bootstrapping of liquidity, be able to build that liquidity layer. So it has a very, very specific purposes for deployment of those new emission. And then it does have a fixed rate. And what that actually means is once it gone over, right, those period of time, then there's no new ACAs being issued because it's fixed. And then at the same time, it continued to burn ACA as the network continues to operate. And then there's ACA, locked on the staking protocol, and then also for voting and things like that. You will, start to see a deflationary model, hopefully, at a certain point. And then also, just a reminder for the emission is that is also a part of an on-chain governance vote, right? The new emission. And then if at any point, for example, in 2 years' time, Acala 2.0 already achieved, well, from everybody's perspective, like community perspective, Acala 2.0 already achieved all we want to achieve at the level of liquidity and also ecosystem development goals. Then we can all collectively vote to cut off the further new emission that comes out, right? Because the emission is going over 6 years period, and then that's fixed for 6 years, and then you can just cut it back to 2 years, and then we stop that, right? So that's also on the horizon if we are doing well in that regard. So hopefully that actually aligns everybody's interest, ACA holders' interest to support the ecosystem and the building, and then also as well as enough incentive for us for builders to collectively make this Acala 2.0 happen. So and then in terms of the program that's going on, it's quite straightforward. You can just go on to the Acala platform, and then there is the staking tab there that you click onto, and then there's your APY currently, and then there's also a loyalty bonus that people ask about, which I will address that right now. So basically, for those who didn't know, so there's always a loyalty bonus for any rewards that are giving out on Acala, and then that's to reduce people who are having hopbacks moving around and trying to just like harvest the crops per se and then move on, right? So we want to have engaging and long-term stakers and participants in the platform, and then encourage those behavior, because so the two things. One is for those who are staking, you can continue to vote, right? And you can continue to vote and participate in the decision-making process. And then secondly, the loyalty bonus is the same as the ACA staking. There's no end date for it, for this program. And then what will happen is, as people leaving the platform, like if they leave early, then those bonus points will go back to the pool of the loyalty bonus. And then you should be able to see the pool somewhere. If not, we can add that number. You can see the pool continue to, maybe that's the pool. It's continue to accumulate in the pool, and then the bonus pool is going to share amongst all the people who continue to stake. So at a certain point, you will see the bonus points allocated to you continue to grow, and it will grow beyond what you have to put back if you do claim the rewards, right? So yeah, so this is really this is a multifaceted game theory, basically trying to encourage the behavior of long-term participants and engaging participants, basically. For the program, but also be able to have a way to incentivize them to continue to stake, right? So which is giving them the bonus loyalty that foregone by other people. So yeah, so you can read more about that on our documentation. And also there's ledgers that unfortunately they're not, they haven't caught up with our current version. I think with an upgradable chain, you're moving way faster than the application that's supporting them. So this is our current sort of situation, is Ledger app is still trying to catch up with our current version. So before that happened, there is a workaround for Ledger folks to participate in staking. There's also a guide that we can send out as well after this. Yeah, so that's ACA staking. And then at the same time, there's a bootstrap program that are currently going on. We'll have a higher sort of target APR so that we can have good liquidity for ACA, which is also very, very important. Yeah, so at the moment, the USDC is using the USDC from Ethereum just because currently there's enough liquidity providers and liquidity for USDC from that side. And then very soon, as soon as Wormhole supports smart conversion, so Wormhole has a way that you can easily convert cross-chain USDC into native USDC, which is Polkadot USDC that Acala also supports. As soon as that is switched on, that we can actually do the transition as well, and then we can have good liquidity natively as well. And as for now, then we are using the Wormhole USDC from Ethereum to help with the bootstrap and liquidity, right? And yeah, so that's basically it for in terms of the program. Oh, and Q&As. So right, so I will just go through some of the questions. I do have like 8 minutes left until the hour. Then I can move on. So yeah, so first question. Can I stake ACA with my ledger? Yes, you can. And yeah, you can use the link to actually do that. I'll put it right here. And then the next question is, can you still vote with stake ACA? And the answer is yes, you can still vote with ACA. And then the rewards, how long is the rewards? They're ongoing. So there's no end date to the rewards. And there's also no end date to loyalty program. So this is a long-term thing that will continuously going on. And the target rate is 10%. So right now, obviously, we're still waiting for people to wake up to the news and then continue to stake. And how rewards incentives are managed. So the rewards are, I think, every week or every 2 weeks, there will be proposals up there. And then you can feel free to kind of vote for those proposals to adjust the reward rate. So this goes for ACA staking. This also goes to, so the one that's currently launching is the DOT staking pool, as well as adjusting existing rewards, right? So all of those rewards are adjusted periodically and it's voted on the acala.subsquare.io. So you can go up there and vote. And unstaking period is 28 days, and you don't get reward during those 28 days. And the unstaking period is similar to the unbounding period of Polkadot. The purpose is to have a cooldown period, so also to prevent hot money bags moving in and out of the staking pallets. Yeah, so. Staking ratio, I think staking ratio is on the app. If not, we should add it in there. Right, so there. Yeah, so there's 9.4% for staking rate. Folks are saying the app is delayed sometimes. So we'll have that checked up. And this is a new just launch program. It could be just a subquery server or something that's trying to calculate all the ratios that are a bit slow, so we can certainly optimize that one. There's no problem. Next, questions on Euphorids. Can I withdraw my LCDOT once it's staked? So once again, coming back to the LCDOT staking sequence. So now if you stake LCDOT in about 6 days, 24th, so 5 days until the unlock, then the LCDOT will get claimed as DOT, and then those DOT will get automatically staked into T-dot or L-dot, whichever you chose when you staked. And then after the 24th, you can withdraw those if you want. If you no longer want the rewards, then you can just withdraw them. And then you withdraw into like basically whatever pool that you choose, whether it's T-dot or L-dot at that time. Can I change the LC.dot pools? No. So once you stake, you staked the pools. And also like projects can also launch their pool, right? So for example, if there's new LSTs or there's new projects, hopefully at the time when the ETH projects comes, they can actually initialize their own pool in the smart contract, and then it can all set up, rewards and things like that. So that's a side question. And how are the rewards calculated? So I think we also have an article about that one as well. So the rewards are basically, first of all, there's a target being set. And then second of all, there's the proposals that come up every period that specifies rewards every block that goes out. And then the percentage of APR that obviously is calculated based on those rewards versus how many people staked or how many assets being staked, and then you get the ratio that way, right? So then it does vary. It varies based on how many assets being staked, and it also varies based on the reward adjustments going in every period of time. So if there are all of a sudden huge inflood of say LC.dot, you don't have to worry because then because this goes on every 2 weeks or so. So then basically every week, then you have to start a proposal to look at existing sort of ratio and then put up a new rewards, right? The next question, can I claim my DOT through UFRITS? The answer is yes. So the answer is yes. So you can claim your DOT through UFRITS. Let me see. I encourage you guys to try to read through this guide. So there's quite a bit of information there. If anything you can't find, then we should probably put those information up. So there. So because the unlock hasn't happened, so the unlock interface is not has not gone live yet. But once it's gone live, it will look like something like this. You can go on there and then you can hit withdraw, and then you can actually withdraw L.dot to DOT directly, right? If you don't want to participate in any of the programs there, and why don't you, right? So that's that. And then there's also a guide here. And then there's also a cool thing there for UFRITS, where you can enter your DOT address, and then you can actually search for where your DOT has been staked in the crowd loan. So whether it's maybe through Polkadot.js directly or through some other platforms, then you can search them here. And then also there's guides there to help you navigate, like to say, if I've got DOT on other platform, how do I get them back? And then how do I get them onto Acala and do the staking that you want, right? Last question is the ACA USDC pool. So the pool is basically just on the swap and bootstrap. So that's that there. So we can link that up there. It's currently just opened, and at the moment it's like about 50% meeting the target. If it doesn't meet, it will just continue. Wait for the right liquidity, right? Because it has to open with certain liquidity there. And then with regard to the details of the bootstrap, I will let you read, because this is not a new thing that we have. It has been going on for a while. But people ask questions like, should I join the bootstrap? If I join with 1 token or two tokens, what is the sort of the dynamics there? I think you can read about that there by yourself. So I think that's the end of it, of the talk, and it's just 5 o'clock sharp. So yeah, so thank you again for everyone who's joining. And then as you can see, we are well on track for Acala 2.0. But of course, apart from just technical building, very importantly is go-to-market and adoption. And we're doing a lot of like groundwork to be able to build products like the one that we launched with Quadora. And also there's other partners in the pipeline as well to be able to finally be able to serve as the backend and serve a much bigger market as we go forward. So there's one more question. Maybe I'll just answer that one because that's quite a frequently asked question. Is like I can't connect to Euphorids because it says my JS wallet is already banned, which it is, but I did it like a year ago. Okay, yeah. So what you can do is you can go on to set up wallet and then figure out which wallet it is to start with. So this is the link. So you can go on there and figure out which wallet you bound it to, because it's important. So if you have a Polkadot wallet and you have already bound it to a Ethereum wallet, then figure out which one is which first. And then once you figure that one out, there's two things you can do. Number one is you can find out that Ethereum account and log into that one, and boom, you start using it. The second option is, well, you kind of want to ditch that account. You can just set up another UniFi account, but be able to transfer those funds across and continue to use your account, right? So yeah, so that's it. And then all good there. And then thank you very much. And then we'll continue to build and grind. And until next time, take care, everybody.